14 point?
1422. This is Vrndavana Mahimamrta, February 12th. And we're discussing the comparable position of Lakshmi Devi and the gopis and Vaikuntha and Vrindavan to understand the supremacy of the gopis' love and their service and the supremacy of Vrindavan versus Vaikuntha, because Prabhupada Saraswati, in one sense, he's trying to dismantle the conditioned view of mukti. The conditioned view of the majority of people in the world is that the goal, mukti or moksha, dharmartha moksha, means going to Vaikuntha. It means going to Vaikuntha and engaging in the service of Lakshmi Narayana, Surupya Mukti Salokya. We discussed the point before. But he's saying there's a whole new paradigm, there's a whole new religious, spiritual paradigm called Goloka Vrindavan. It's not Goloka, it's not the spiritual abode of Vaikuntha, Goloka Vrindavan, Braja Gokul. And there's not Lakshmi, there's Radha. And there's not Narayan, there's Krishna. The Adi Lakshmi Radha and the Adi Narayan, like we say, Bhajri Adi Narayan, the original cause of all the Shaktis and all the Purushas, or Shaktimans, Radha Radha, is Radha and Krishna. So in this verse 22, chapter 14, he says, Yastra Sri Krishna Chandre Smita Ruchi Ruchire Chakshur Adhaya Radha Vaktrendro Mandamandam Ranayati Muralim Ulasad Ramaharshe Vaikunte Dhyan Linakila Karanaganas Tat Prabhu Kama Murcham Samprapa Shrir Vishadi Namudam Anum Apiprapa Tratya Loka. When Sri Krishna, who bears a sweet enchanting smile and whose bodily hairs are standing on end, plays his flute while looking at the moonlight face of Radha, at that moment, even the Lord of Vaikuntha, whose senses are absorbed in meditation, faints in the ecstasy of love. Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, also becomes agitated, and the peace of all the residents of Vaikuntha is broken. So, let's see another translation of this, and then we can kind of understand from two angles of vision and draw a conclusion of what the point is here, of many points. Sattika 14, verse 22, comparing Radha and Krishna to Lakshmi Narayan, basically. If Radha lifts her head and gently smiles, this is 14:22. It says. 14:22. Oh, excuse me. When moon-faced Lord Krishna Chandra, that sounded interesting, though, didn't it? It sounded very attractive. When Radha lifts her head and gently smiles, and then, oh, wrong verse. all the Radha Bhaktas and the Dasis and Kinkaris, yes, Radha lifts her head and gently smiles. And then we fill in a blank. This is an exam. Then Krishna faints, he drops his flute, his dhoti falls off, his heart palpitates, he turns purple, His red and blue make purple, right? He's blue in color when his anurag arises, that intense loving attachment for Radha arises. The anurag, which is a rich red color, mixes with a rich blue color. It makes purple, red and blue. So he turns purple. But that's not the verse we're on. Verse 22. When moon-faced Lord Krishna Chandra places the flute to his splendid smiling lips and plays very sweetly, Sri Radha fixes her eyes upon Krishna, and the residents of Vaikuntha feel ecstasy, and the hairs on their bodies stand erect with joy. However, when Krishna's senses in meditation I don't know, it's a little strange. When, I guess it's when Narayan meditates on this scene, he faints in the ecstasy of love. At that time, Lakshmi Devi becomes unhappy, and the residents of Vaikuntha cannot find the slightest happiness anywhere. So, there's a slightly different angle of vision here. That because here it says that Lord Vaikuntha, he meditates on this loving exchange of Radha and Krishna. He faints, and Lakshmi becomes agitated, and the peace of all the residents of Vaikuntha is broken. But this particular translation makes it sound like there's three effects, the effects of Radha and Krishna's loving enchantment. Krishna smiling enchantingly, and he's in ecstasy while he's looking at the face of Radha and playing the flute for her pleasure. It's called a duet. Sometimes they play a duet. Radharani, Krishna plays the flute and looks at Radharani. Radharani's playing the veena and she's looking at Krishna. Or Radharani is just looking and Krishna's playing the flute. You see so many pictures and paintings like that. Krishna's sitting down and he's leaning against a tree, and Radharani's kneeling next to him, and she's just looking like this at him, like this. And he's looking. He's entertaining her. It's called entertaining her. It's like a musician, a young man may be a musician, he plays guitar or whatever, folk guitar. Oh, and he says, "Oh, my girlfriend, sit down. I wrote a song and it's nice. I want you to hear it." And she sits there, and she looks so lovingly at her boyfriend, and he sings some love song. We've seen it. We maybe even did it. We means you or whatever. So because it's Nara Leela, he's human-like Leela, means like us. We're humans and he's like us. Or he's the original human and we're like him. He's Adi Purush and we're Purush. So it's more like he's the original human and he's having the pure form of human Leela. We're having the perverted form of human Leela without Krishna in the center. And Krishna's human Leela, Krishna's in the center. Because it's Krishna's Leela. And everyone else is revolving around that center. But in our human Leela, we're the center. And we want everyone else to revolve around us. And it doesn't really work the way we want it to. So we can't be Krishna, although we all want to be, in illusion. So here, this is basically, the scene is this is agreeable in both translations, that Krishna Chandra, he's very beautiful, his moon-like face, smita ruchi ruchire. He has a very tasty smile. Ruchi, smita ruchi, ruchir chakshush. Radha chakshu adhaya Radha. When Radha's eyes fall upon that tasty smile of Krishna, it fills her with a taste of love. Smita ruchi, ruchire. When we read in the Bhagavatam description of Rukmini, the first queen of Dwarkadish, Lord Krishna, it says, one word, it says ruchir anana. Ruchir anana. Anana means face, anand. And ruchi means tasty, delectable, sweet, charm, sweet. Like sweet is tasty. Anything sweet is tasty, attractive, satisfying, filling. So when the princes and kings came to the Swayamvara of Rukmini Devi, they glanced upon her face, whatever little bit they could see, because she was covered. She went to the Chandrabhaga Durga temple to perform the rituals prior to marriage, the Mangala, auspicious rituals on the day of her marriage, to take the blessings of Devi. And coming out of the temple, she was lifting her chunari slightly, not to show her beautiful face to anyone, but to look for Krishna, the Brahman, because she didn't know whether Krishna would be there or not. And she's looking. So she just looked a little bit like this from her veil, and all the soldiers saw, and oh, what a face I'd never seen before, so beautiful. Because that's the first introduction, is the face. If the face is beautiful, the man is half sold. So they looked, and then and it says, Ruchir Anana, her face was so beautiful, they have, you could say sundar, you say beautiful, so many things you could say, beautiful smile, and that would indicate the whole beautiful beauty of her face. Because if a woman has a beautiful smile, then usually it all goes together. That someone describes a smile, then it means that everything else is understood to be beautiful. But when you say this is a rather unusual term, ruchiranana, such a delightful, tasty, attractive face. So much so that when all the soldiers saw just a portion of her face, they fell off their horses. They went, huh. They fell off even there's an expression like that, he fell off his horse, a high horse, or come off your high horse, or something like that. Well, they had high horses, and they went right to the low ground. Boom, boom, they fell down. It's in the Bhagavatam. It sounds humorous and amazing to think and imagine. I mean, that's powerful. I mean, how much boost the ego of Rukmini must have gotten. Because when she walked out, and all these soldiers are not just sitting there in their boxer shorts. I mean, they're all decked out with, they have all kinds of bangles and jewelry and necklaces and helmets. So when they fall off their horses, bang, bang, dang, dang, it's all jewels. It's making noise, because living entities make noise. I mean, they make noise, and with the speaker, you're all covered with jewels and bangles. You fall off a horse, and everyone will turn around, what happened? Boom. And you imagine the kind of smile that came on her face. Just like if a woman walks through a mall and a man's eating his ice cream or something, he looks at her and goes, drops his ice cream. He's licking some ice cream, and boom, and it falls on his, his track shoes and makes a fool of himself, and she kind of looks like, excuse me, wasn't my fault. God made me so beautiful. So then Krishna was thinking, well, all right, it's made a lot. You can see how women are actually doing everything. Just like in lifting Govardhan Hill, everyone said Krishna stood under there, but they don't. That's you see that, like you see the light. Oh yes, that light bulb is giving me electricity. No, is it a light bulb? No, the light bulb was carrying electricity, which was coming through the wire, and then that bulb was a facility to transform that electric current into light through this filaments and all this, gases inside that. The gases get heated up by the electricity, and it's all science to light bulbs. So then it gives off light. In the same way, Krishna's there, brilliant, smiling, fulgent. Look at me, look what I'm doing. But no one sees where, he's the light bulb, but every light bulb has a wire. And the wire is his foot. That's the plug. And he's plugged into Radharani. Because he's in Tribhanga, and his right foot is, his plug is 220 volts. I mean, he's more like 2,000 volts. 200,000 volts. And you need a lot of voltage to lift a mountain. So then when he lifts his foot, he touches Radharani's dress, and then that releases so much flood of encouragement and inspiration to Krishna. So the power for the powerful, the Shakti for the Shaktiman to lift Govardhan Hill came from Shakti Mayi Radha. So in the same way, Krishna, there was very heavy contenders there at the Swayamvara. There was Shishupal and all these great heroes came there to win the hand of Rukmini. So Rukmini said, well, I know Krishna may have a tough time, I better knock these guys off first. So Rukmini's a Kshatriya, and with her own, mystic power, which is, of course, a very powerful mystic power that women have called beauty, Saundarya Shakti, then just with her beauty, she knocked them all on the ground. So that makes it pretty easy to kidnap somebody if all the guards are fainted on the ground. All the guards of the Prime Minister faint on the ground, you just come and grab them, throw them in a getaway car, and you kidnap them. So she made it quite easy, isn't it? She stupefied all the contenders, and Krishna walked in and grabbed the prize. And even she wrote in her letter to Krishna, what is intended for the lion should not be taken by the jackals. And then in brackets, do you know what I mean? Rukmini wrote this in a letter. What is meant to be the food for the lion should not be taken by the jackals. So these jackal-like kings are coming to win my hand, and you're my lion, you're my hero, you're my Singha, so you come and you take. So this is an interesting again, glorification of Shakti. Everywhere in Veda, they're always glorifying the Shaktiman. Until you come to Gaudiya Vaishnava Vedanta, Gaudiya Vedanta. Then you understand, oh, Shaktiman, okay, pranams. We offer respects. But worship, we worship Shakti. Param Shakti Radharani. Because we know the truth, that behind every great man, there is the greatest of the great, Radharani. So here, in one verse, it's saying that Krishna is smiling enchantingly, his bodily hairs are standing on end. Why? Because he's looking at the moon-like face of Radharani. Krishna Chandra is looking at Chandramukhi. Chandramukhi is moon-like Radha. It says Vaktendro. Vakta means face, Indra, Endu means moonbeam. Her face is glowing like moonbeams. You might say moon, oh, like the moon. But is the moon the object that we appreciate, or is the moonbeams? It's the moonbeams. You can say Chandramukhi, we say. But this is another way. Vaktrendo, mandamatam. Manda means very soft and gentle. Sometimes we say manda means like slow. Usually it can be translated as slow, lazy. Also manda means gentle, soft, soothing. So he's looking at Radharani. Krishna Chandra is looking at the beautiful rays, the Indu, like Indu. Chandendu means, Bhaktendu means her face is emanating rays of gentle, soft, cooling, refreshing rays of love. And Krishna is melting, his hair is standing on end, sattvic bhavs. And this is how he's playing the flute. And he's playing it, imagine he's playing, how can he play his flute? I don't know how long he's going to keep playing his flute. But he's playing his flute and having these ecstatic experiences. Now, somehow, Lord Narayan is meditating on this scene. He's heard about it, or he's seeing it, and he's read about it, or he's heard about it. He certainly is not in Vrindavan, and he's not seeing it sakshat, because it says meditation. It says, the words there, Vaikunte Dhyana Linankila, and then Kama Morcham. He becomes overpowered by this desire. So that's what there's Lord Narayan. He's meditating on Radha and Krishna, and then what does he do? He faints, Murcham, Kama Murcham. He faints, overwhelmed by desire, by loving desire. The Prabhu, Tat Prabhu Kama Murcham, Karana, Vaikunta Dhyana Linakli Akila Karana Ganas. There's only one cause of so many of this whole experience of the Prabhu, Vaikuntha Prabhu. He was meditating, and then what happened? He became overwhelmed with the ecstasy of the divine love of Radha and Krishna, and he fainted. He couldn't contain the ecstasy, he fainted. That's considered to be the 8th stage of sattvic bhavs, vikaras. Pralaya, murcham, fainting. I mean, pralaya means devastation, means death. Sometimes it's translated hair standing in death, but of course death is not favorable to Ras. So then there's fainting, swooning, etc. So now, this verse says that he was affected in like this way in Vaikuntha, and then Lakshmi was also agitated, and all the Vaikuntha Vasis, they were disturbed, as if they were all three of these personalities, Lakshmi, Narayan, and Vaikuntha Vasis, were all having some type of experience of Narayan's meditation, and they became disturbed or whatever. It can be seen like that. And this verse says that, the other translation, the same verse, 14:22, it says that he's lost the meditation on this scene, and he faints in the ecstasy of love. At that time, Lakshmi became unhappy, and the Vaikuntha Vasis were not happy. So now the angle here appears to change, that the Vaikuntha Vasis, the residents of Vaikuntha Loka, and Lakshmi Devi, they're all totally surrendered servants of Narayan. Their focus of their consciousness and their minds and their actions are all the pleasure of Narayan. And then they're seeing that, oh, what has happened to my pati? Lakshmi said, what has happened to my pati? He's murcham, kama murcham, she doesn't know why, possibly Well, he's fainted on the ground, and she becomes very unhappy. Naturally, a chaste wife would be very unhappy if her husband suddenly, his eyes are closed. Just like we read about Dwarkadish in Dwarka Leela, he wakes up at Brahma Muhurta, then he sits down and he meditates on himself. Means Vishnu. He does Vishnu Dhyan as his morning rites, and this is what is supposed to be done. In Nara Leela, every human being is supposed to wake up in the morning, bathe early, 4 o'clock, Brahma Muhurta, then meditate on the Supreme, on Vishnu. Because this was the whole society, was of course Vaishnavas. Only 2,000 years ago we have this Shankar idea. And there were yogis, worshippers of demigods, Panchupasanam. Panchupasanam was always there throughout all the ages, worshipping the 5 devas. But it's just, as people became more and more materialistic, then the worship of the Panchadevata became less Vishnu and more Shiva and more Ganapati, like that. And then it became so far removed from Vishnu. And Satyuga, most everyone was Vishnu Dhyan, doing Vishnu Dhyan or worship of Vishnu. Panchupasana means worshipping the 5 gods, right? Vishnu, Shiva, Parvati, Ganapati, and Surya. These are the 5 big lords of the universe, of course, God and his agents. So many Surya worshippers. And then Shankara came along and said, oh, forget all these Panchupasana. Because the people's nature was like that, and becoming more so. So now this verse is saying that here it's everyone's involved, everyone's having a different experience of Lord Narayan's meditation. And here it's saying that he's in ecstasy of love of God, and he's seeing that. And Lakshmi and the other residents, they don't really know what's happening. They're unhappy. And on one side, Narayan's in the ecstasy of love, Kamamurcham. He's in ecstasy. One man's pleasure is another man's pain. Probably gives the example of the frog. Different frog, not Dr. Frog. Everyone knows Dr. Frog. This is Bhakta Frog. There's Dr. Frog, who wasn't a Bhakta. He was a mundane scientist, Dr. Frog. He went to Harvard and got a degree in biology, microbiology, and he studied amphibians and things like this. And so he was very good in that subject, Dr. Frog. Reptology. But then there's another Bhakta Frog. He took a liberal arts course and he studied filmmaking and design and things like this. Bhakta Frog. And he quit after 3rd year of school and joined ISKCON. And he was Bhakta Frog. Got initiated by some illustrious personality. So Bhakta Frog, he became a devotee. And one day he was just doing, he was doing his service out there on a lily pad. He was sitting there in the lake on the pad and he was just chanting japa, like frogs do. And frogs make that kind of sound. It sounds like they're saying in their own way. Every living, it takes the ears. It takes like an art appreciation. You have to have the eyes to appreciate good art. So you have to have the heart to appreciate how the living entities are all glorifying Krishna in their own way. So now, some boys came home from school, from Asura Kul. They weren't in Gurukul, they were in Asura Kul. And they said, oh look, frog, let's play a game. Who can hit the frog? Whoever gets the frog gets 1 toffee. So they picked up stones and they were throwing, the frog. He was shining japa, but it was getting some big shape. He was trying to really fix his mind and dhyan, but it was like so difficult, many impediments. And they were throwing stones at him. And then after a while he couldn't chant properly. So then he spoke to the boys, said, hey, listen, Suno! Listen, boys, what are you doing? Oh, we're having fun. We're throwing stones at you. We played a game. Whoever hits you on the head, then he gets a toffee. So then Prabhupada says, your playing is my death. Your playing is my death. So your pleasure is my pain. So they're just playing, and if they hit him on the head with a rock, he'll die. And he's just busy doing what he's doing. So then that's what's happening here. Interesting. That one man's bliss is another man's suffering. So that Lakshmi Devi in the residence of Vaikuntha, they said, oh my, our Prabhu, our Nath, our Narayan, our Lakshmi Nath, our Vaikuntha Nath, he's fainted on the ground. How's it going to go on? You know, if the leader of the house faints on the floor, or the Prime Minister faints, then everyone becomes disturbed. Like in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, and Yamaraj was going back after coming to Navadvip, and he saw Jagai and Madai had been exonerated from all their sins by the mercy of Nitai and Gaura. Then he was overwhelmed, he couldn't believe it. He said, because all the demigods said, look, we're going down to celebrate the liberation of Jagai and Madai, why don't you come? We're having a massive kirtan. We're all going to disguise ourselves as Brahmins. It's a costume party. So they sent invitations out to Yamaraj and Indra, Surya, everybody. Say, hey, you're going to the party. It's a huge party down there in Navadvip. But you can't come with all these eyes on your body and everything. It looks a little strange. So you had to change your costume. So they went down, got costumes, and they went down to Navadvip, and they mixed in with the Brahmins, and everyone's dancing in the kirtan, celebrating the liberation of Jagai Madai. Not celebrating that, but celebrating the mercy of Nitai, the unlimited karuna, Patita Bhava, Nitai and Gaura. Together, Nitai invokes Gaura's mercy. Nitai is merciful, and his mercy is he brings Gaura's mercy. Das Goswami approached Gaura, he couldn't approach. And then Nitai, hey, you were trying to go without my mercy, how you go? You come here, you thief, come here. Come, hey, why are you staying there? A thief always stays far away. You come here. And they came and he put his foot on his head. Okay, now do Seva, serve the Vaishnavas. Nitai Krpa, Vaishnava Seva, Gaura Prapti. It's like this. So, Nitai is Guru. So Guru gives you mercy, then you come in sadhusanga. You're accepted in sadhusanga. And when you're in sadhusanga, you do Seva. You do Seva, you attract Radharani, Bhakti Devi, Krishna, Gauranga. First you attract Gauranga. Oh, Nitai is favoring you. Guru is favoring you, Nitai is favoring you. Okay, I give you some favor. Then when Gaura gives more favor, then you see Gaura becomes Radha and Krishna. And both are possible, that somehow, because as we hear that the servants of Radharani or Krishna, they feel what the Lord feels or what Radharani feels, the Sakhis. If Radharani's happy, Krishna's happy, then the cowherd boys are happy. When Krishna went far away looking for the cows and came back after a moment, the cowherd boys were so distressed. Oh, Krishna, are you all right? You went so far. You told us you would bring back the cows and the calves, and we shouldn't worry, continue eating our lunch. And you're so kind to us. But you didn't come for so long, we were worried. You're all right? And so they were disturbed. No, I'm okay. Like this. So the Lakshmi, and they're all worried that what has happened. But at the same time, the other one is that they could be feeling, like this verse says, they were also feeling some of that agitation of love. The love that Narayan was feeling while remembering the Leela, they were also experiencing. But nevertheless, the whole idea of this verse, Prabodhananda Saraswati is trying to establish the glorious position of Radha and Krishna. Lakshmi Devi, Narayan, beginning with Narayan, and all of his servants and associates, including Lakshmi Devi, are all overwhelmed and attracted and influenced and affected by the sweet love of Radha and Krishna. And what are they doing? They're simply looking at each other. He's meditating on the scene. See the power of dhyan. The dhyan, the power of the prabhava of meditation. There's so many lessons you can see from this. Narayan is meditating on what? Radha and Krishna. So the object of his meditation is Radha and Krishna, which is another aspect of himself in one sense. His Shakti manifests in original form, and himself manifested in original. Narayan is Krishna, Krishna is Narayan. So it's Narayan meditating Narayan, Krishna meditating Narayan. So that dhyan or meditation is creating such an absorption. He's just by meditating, of course, from the Vishuddha Sattva platform, transcendental platform, to start with, but that exalted meditation is bringing him into, he's experiencing his Stairati in relation to Krishna, and then all kinds of bhavas are coming mixed up, and then he's fainting, so many experiences. And then those that are connected with him, if you're connected with somebody, you're not just connected with their body. If you have a relationship with someone that's intimate on any level, you're not just connected with their body, you're connected with their heart, with their mind, with their desires, with their world, with their ambitions, and you share their views and you encourage them and even give shape to their views. Like you're connected to them. You know, I'm thinking maybe when I grow up I do like this. Oh yeah, that's nice. And you're sharing your life's plan with your friend, and he's part of your even development. He may be with you for years, meets you years later. Did you realize your dream? We used to talk when we were young, your dream. Did you get that job? Did you build that sailboat? Did you go to Hawaii? Whatever. Yes, yes. So this is, imagine the devotees of the Lord, the Lakshmi Devi and the Vaikuntavasis, how much they're totally tadatmik and identifying with the heart of Narayan, with the desires of Narayan, with the feelings of Narayan, the wants of Narayan, and the meditation of Narayan. And we see even in the material world, someone can know what someone else is thinking. I read your mind. And what did you call? I felt you were thinking of me. Were you thinking? I was thinking too much of you. How you know? I don't know, I know. Some vibration, telepathy, whatever came in my heart, and I called you. Or sometimes you go somewhere and someone says, oh Maharaj, I was just praying to Radharani that I meet you, but I heard that you never come out, this, that, the other thing, you're always locked up in here and there. And then all of a sudden, it's Radharani's mercy. Or even sometimes I'm walking like this and then I turn and someone looks at me and I say, are you Mahanidhi? And it was something like that, because they don't know, I never said yes. Oh. And for some reason I turned and I usually never, because something made me turn, and that person would say, oh, I was wanting to meet you or whatever. So imagine how much the devotees of the Lord, when they're one with the Lord in his heart and mind. And this is what bhakti is all about, is to merge. Merge means you have a separate, that Krishna becomes part of he is our mind and Krishna is in our mind. It's our mind, Krishna in our mind, so there's two. There's our mind and there's Krishna. And there's our heart and Krishna's in our heart, or Radha. And it's our desires and Krishna's desires. So the devotees of Radha and Krishna, we don't meditate on Narayan, we meditate also, just like this. What a beautiful scene for mantra upasana. Krishna's sweet enchanting smile, smita ruchi. Krishna Chandra smita ruchi. And that's creating what? His hairs are standing on end. And then it says, Ulasad Romaharshe. He's playing his flute and he's looking at Chandramukhi Radha's face. Vas. So this is what he's meditating on this. It's one beautiful scene of an exchange of love. Love is expressed in so many ways, in so many obvious ways and subtle ways, through the words, through the eyes, through the touch, through the expression. Krishna is playing the flute for the pleasure of Radha, as a service to Radha, because she loves the flute. All devotees, if you're a devotee of Krishna, you don't love the flute, there's something wrong. Even the cows, the monkeys, everyone loves the flute. They live by the flute, they move by the flute, they laugh with the flute, they cry with the flute, they unite with the flute, they divide with the flute. The flute is everything. It's Krishna's love song, it's his heart song. It's sweet, it's attractive, it's the food, it's the very food for the gopis' hearts, the sound of Krishna's flute. They drop everything, they just hear the flute and they drop everything. But no one knows do you know what I'm thinking? Do you know what when I sit down and close my eyes, do you know what I'm meditating on? You don't know, I'll tell you. Prasadam. in case there's any mystery, just to alleviate any doubts. If I close my eyes and meditate, at least if I'm Madhamangal, I didn't say what my name was. My name is Madhamangal, and when I close, like he might play a game with Krishna. Krishna, if I close my eyes, what am I meditating on? And of course all the boys will start laughing. And then one boy will say, Sandesh, ladus, bananas. And he'll say, no. Keep guessing. Were you meditating now? Yeah, I'm meditating now, big time. Okay, kachoris? No. Rubbery? Yeah. Rubbery? Yeah, you got it. You entered my mind, you read my mind, you entered my meditation. So this is the whole process of bhakti, is becoming so much one with the heart of particular residents of Vrindavan that represent a particular form of love which attracts our particular heart. It's all about individualness. Krishna has, like they sometimes have clothes for every man, or they have all kinds. So Krishna has forms of love for every possible loving desire. Whatever desire you have, whatever type of desire you have to love God, He has a suitable form and place and expression and mood to reciprocate with that desire. And He has so many associates that are living that very reality which you're aspiring to experience. So they become the role models for the desired love that you want to attain. And then of course there's a prescribed way to do that. That's called sadhana. Sadhana imbued with attachment, sadhana imbued with intensity and desire, what they say, lobha, greed. So now there's another verse here in chapter 1664. We can read more about this interesting relationship with Krishna. I'm always thinking how humorous it would be if we were to present these points to the members of the Sri Sampradaya. You know, your Lakshmi and all the Vaikuntavasis are fainting.
Mahaprabhu did with Venkat Bhatt. Mahaprabhu did with Venkat Bhatt.
Yeah. That was a very humorous exchange with a friendly party. His host, no less. This is 1664. This all comes under the category of Lakshmi and Narayan are enchanted by Radha and Krishna. All these verses prove this point: 12, 40, 41, 50, 64, 74, 14, 22, and 1664. This one point is clearly established here, that Lakshmi and Narayan are completely enchanted by Radha and Krishna's loving exchanges to the point of fainting, morcha. This is the point, and these are the supportive verses which we discussed. Shataka 12, then there's quite a few verses, 40, 41, 50, 64, 74. Shataka, which means chapter. 14, verse 22, now Shataka 16, verse 64. Unfortunately, we have no real understanding or knowledge of Sanskrit, otherwise we could really go very deeply into all these verses. But whatever access has been given to us by learned God brothers who know the subject, we're trying to take their blessings and mercy on our head and explain something. Ananda rasa tundale madura gunja indivare virajya nija mandire lasati san anuragendri dire sada marana mohana pranaya sampada sundare rattim vitana radhika madura madhavi mandare. From what distance we are, we can appreciate how beautiful it is. Rattim vitanu radhika madura madhavi mandare. At least we can appreciate the beauty of the language. And this is a directive, an agya, an order from the author, the Shiksha Guru, the benevolent and kind Prabodhananda Saraswati, who is trying to bring us into the association of Radharani by enhancing our appreciation for Vrindavan and illuminating our hearts with the superiority of Radha and Krishna's love, and making us eligible to become a servant of the Sakhis, like her, Tunga Vidya, Prabodhananda Saraswati. He's telling us, listen, O readers, O sadhakas, just increase your attachment. We know about that. We have lots of attachments. It's easy to increase them. But for what? For Maya, or all the things that we carried with us from our last life? We have so many inherited attachments. Oh, your father died. Did you inherit anything? Oh, yeah. Oh, you were born. Did you bring your inheritance with you? When we're born, we bring our inheritance with us, our punya phal and our papa phal. Just increase your attachment for the most enchanting Sri Radhika's sweet temple built with Madhavi flowers and creepers. This is Kunja Mandir. That Kunja Mandir in the forest of Vrindavan is a vast ocean of transcendental mellows. It's more than just a house, it's a house of love. It's an abode of ras. It's full of mellows of ras and bhav. Because it's the meeting place of Radha and Krishna, it's the Leela Stali, where they experience their Sringar Ras and their Surata Vilas, their most intimate, divine, conjugal, loving pastimes in those private, the Nikunjas, confidential forest groves of Vrindavan. It's a vast ocean of transcendental mellows. That Kunja Mandir is decorated with lotus flowers and it's surrounded by humming bees, which add to the excitement. Buzzing. It's like it's not a quiet place. Usually you want to go to a very quiet place to relish. But here, these are all elements to create excitement, movement. Love means movement of hearts and minds and forms. So here, the buzzing of the bees, it's like music. You can you imagine watching a movie with no music? How would your emotions be stirred? How would you're just watching a movie, and there's a chase scene. You just see a car going down like this, and somebody. And then the two lovers are looking at each other. That silent movie, it wouldn't, it'd probably go to sleep, I suppose. So in the same thing, in the loving pastimes of Krishna and the Gopas or anywhere, there's so much sound, surrounding sounds, birds and the lowing of cows. In the daytime, it's the lowing of cows and their sound, on, and the boys laughing and the birds chirping. It's very the lively, exciting sounds of the daytime when the boys are skipping and playing and running behind the cows. But then at night or in the day, in those private, dark regions of the forest, there are certain birds there, and the buzzing of the bees. It creates, because all these insects and birds and animals, they're all cooperating with Vrindadevi and Yogamaya to create the ideal atmosphere and setting for Radha and Krishna's loving exchanges. So externally it appears to be the buzzing of bees, but to the ears of lovers it reminds them of Rati, Kamadev and Rati. Kamadev, wife is Rati. Kam means intense loving desire. That's Kam. And Rati means the attachment born from that desire. Rati. Kamadev is the Lord of intense craving of love, loving desire. And his wife is Rati. She is the principal attachment that arises from that expression of that desire. When one expresses that intense craving for intimate conjugal love, then he becomes attached. Wherever there is Kam, then there's Rati. Where there is husband, wherever there is Pati, then there's Patni. Where there is Kam, then there's Rati. So Kam may arise, but unless it's expressed, then Rati doesn't come. But if it's just dormant, some lust comes, but then there's no expression, so then Rati doesn't come. And then Kamadev leaves. He said, I have no scope here. I'm here in this person's mind. I'm ready. I'm pulling my bow. And he's about to express his lust. I'm pulling my bow, my 5 arrows of rupam and fragrance and touch and all these things. Is he going? And then he expresses. He goes with the expression of that thought or desire by expressing it physically or externally in this world. Then immediately Rati comes, attachment. Because she's there to serve her husband. Her husband's service begins when the arrows let loose and it hits the target. If he lets loose the arrows of form and just go over your head, you duck, you go like, psh, it's all, no success. Like with Shiva, Shiva was meditating, he was shooting his arrows heavily, and Shiva was like, someone is trying to disturb me. The Lord of Lust is trying to disturb me. I think it's so easy. My meditation is so weak. and so much big shape and distraction, and me? Are you kidding? He opens his eyes. Yeah. And then he just blew him away, so to speak, with his, of course he burned him up. And some acharyas say, but in one sense, Kamadeva was successful, because lust has a brother, his wife is attachment, but his brother is anger. This is the brother of Kamadeva. So lust often, anger comes also. So because Shiv was affected by anger, he became angry. He did disturb, he was successful to disturb his meditation, not necessarily to create lust, but his brother came. Meditation was broken, so he wasn't that fixed in meditation. So Kuba was successful. And the second point is that he became angry. The fire of his anger burned him up. He became ananga. So this is, he's telling us to meditate on the Kunja Mandir, and how beautiful it is. And he's buzzing hummingbees. Rati Devi, her husband shoots a bow, and he has a musical instrument too. I forget, maybe Leena, I'm not sure. And she plays kartals, Rati Devi. So that high-pitched ding, 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 it sounds like the humming of bees. So the humming of bees, there's all lotus flower bed in the kunj, there inside, made of lotus petals and stems, and like a mattress of stems and lotus petals. And then the bees are buzzing around. They're not disturbing. Just like if you have music playing in a stereo, it's not disturbing, it's just some sound vibration, not disturbing your bed or anything, it's the ambience, atmosphere. So the bees are like the speakers, and then that sound is bringing attachment, it's bringing rati, it's increasing the rati also, it's increasing the madhura rati, the loving attachment of Radha and Krishna. So it becomes an udipan to stimulate. That's why it's part of the meditation, that not only do you meditate on the physical, the kunja, the trees, or the configuration, but then the sounds in the kunja. Because meditation is just like dreaming. When we dream, we're unconscious. Our external senses are sleeping, but our mental senses are awake. In our mind, while we're dreaming, we're seeing, we're smelling, we're hearing, we're tasting, we're touching. All things are going on in the dream. You wake up and you have distinct experiences. Oh, I touched this, I tasted that, I saw this, I heard that, she said, he said, or I heard this music, or whatever. So now meditation, when one goes into meditation, then you can meditate on the form of some particular scene, which he's telling us, the sounds, and then the feelings, emotions. There's so many layers of meditation. So he's explaining that's called the immersion, that you're not just meditating. You just meditate, oh, there's these trees, or this yoga pit is like this. But the gopis are there, and Lalita Sakhi is offering yoga pit, she's offering arti. But she has bangles, and she has waist bells. And so there's some sound when she's offering. When a lady moves her arm, ching, 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 when you ever see she's cooking, and she has bangles, ching, ching, ching. Or when they're not just standing there, they're very artistically offering arti to Radha and Krishna, yoga pit, and arti. Yes. And then she may be moving. I remember one pujari, and Krishna Balaram, he was a little artistic type. So when he would offer arti, he would a little bit dance, He would, actually one foot he would keep flat, a little bit forward, almost like some Tai Chi stance. He had one foot flat on the ground, and one foot was up on his toes, behind him, like kind of a modified threefold bending form. He was and he was ringing the bell, and it was like half the people would be looking at the pujari, because he would come out in front of the door, and when I would offer arti, many times offer arti, I would make sure that, and Radha Shyam's altar, because there's a big, big fat door like this, I would open like this, I would deliberately stand behind the door, and all you would see, because you have to be a little bit out, you just see my hand, because it have to be like that. But he would push into all these. He was like a third deity. There's Radha Shyam, Pujari. And because he's moving, and they're also moving, but we're not so pure to see. And Swami was like, samsara. So the idea, not to get distracted by that kind of scene, it's interesting, but the point is that he's moving while he's offering arti, and Lita Sakhi, you think she's, that's reminding me that Lita Sakhi would stand there so elegantly and so beautifully and offer arti to the divine couple, Radha Govinda Yugal. So then what is the sound of those ankle bells? And what is, so many things. This is the idea of meditation. So he's telling us to think like this, to meditate on this, it's adored by Goddess Lakshmi, who has left her own abode out of attachment for this temple. So it's called Kunja Griha or Kunja Mandir. It's Nibrita Mandir, Nibritini Kunja Mandir. Nibritini Kunja Mandir. Nibrita means very confidential, private, secluded place. And Lakshmi, she's left, and she's meditating. There's no Kunja Mandirs under this bael tree. She's sitting under a bael tree, a bilva tree in Lakshmivan, and leaves are dropping on her head. Especially this season, January, the leaves fall off. This is the fall season in Vrindavan, leaves falling so much. January, she's sitting there and she has to meditate. So she's meditating, oh Krishna, now it's time for Ban Bihar. And he's wandering in the forest with Radha and the gopis. Maybe they enter the Kunja Mandir. And there's a beautiful lotus flower bed there in the center. And there's buzzing bees. So she's meditating like this herself. On the site, on the rupam of the Kunja Mandir, on the shabda, on the sounds of the bees, on the fragrance of the flowers there, what those lotus flowers smell like. I remember there was, when we were teenagers in New York, they would have different, what they call immersion theater. It was called immersion theater off Broadway. And what they would do is they would show a movie or a play, oftentimes a movie, and they would try to submerge the senses of the audience in the whole experience. So they would go around and they would make fragrance. They would spray some fragrance. They would go up and down the aisles and spray fragrance. So you're watching a movie and smelling something, and I remember once they would have these different types of theme movies. Like it would have one where it would have, like they would show scenes. Like they would show strawberries. And usually people would take different, herbs and spices and whatnot, and go to these places. They would show these movies, and they have music, and they would say there was a song, Strawberry Fields Forever. It was some kind of song from one group, Strawberry. So then they would sing this song, which everyone knew, and then on the screen, this huge screen, would be pictures of strawberries. So then this fragrance would come, some synthetic fragrance of strawberries. Then they would come around with a bowl and give everybody strawberries. I'm serious. And it was called immersion theater. It was like it's like 3D movies, 3D movies, or you put special glasses. So they wanted everyone's senses to become, you're hearing the song, you're seeing the sight, you're smelling, you're tasting. So this is what meditation is supposed to be. This is with our external senses all happening, all absorbed in one point, all absorbed in strawberries. But we're supposed to have all of our senses absorbed in Krishna's Nam, Rup, Gun, and Leela. So this is the perfection of. That's why when we do smaran or meditation, we're doing all 9 limbs of devotion, and we're doing Nam, Rup, Gun, Leela all in one. Everything's there. Advan Vedam's there, Shravanam, Kirtan, Puja, Archanam, prayers, everything is there in meditation. And then you're worshiping the Nam, the Rup, the Gun, and Leela. It's all there. Because you're chanting the Nam, you're meditating. You're meditating, and then this Sakhi is speaking, and that Sakhi is speaking. They all have names. It's all Nam Sankirtan. Lalita is speaking to Krishna, Lalita, Vishaka, these are all names. These are all Nam, transcendental names. Prem Nam, Chitra, Tunga Vidya, Induleka. So he's giving us a very nice object. Increase your attachment for the most enchanting Sri Radhika's sweet temple. Ananda rasa tundale madhura gunjad indivari vivrajya nija mandare. Nija mandare lasati anuragendre. Anurag, your anurag. Sada Marana Mohana Pranaya Sampada Sundare. The beautiful wealth of that Madan Mohan, that eternal enchantment of the pranaya of Krishna. Ratim Betano Radhika Madhura Madhavi Mandire, in the Madhavi Mandir. Madhavi is a very fragrant white flower. It's a creeper. So you can imagine that the whole walls are made of just maybe some bushes or whatever, some trees, and then all these Madhavi latas are climbing up like this and surrounding the whole thing. It's all white flowers everywhere. It's so fragrant. Flowers have such a fragrance. You can get intoxicated by drinking liquor. You get intoxicated by eating sweets. You can get intoxicated by seeing something amazing. You can get intoxicated by hearing something amazing. You can get very intoxicated by fragrance. The deer go mad by their own fragrance, Mrigamata. It's called Mrigamata. Mrigamata is a name for Kasturi. Kasturi is produced by the navel of the male deer, wild forest deer, ox, whatever they call deer, some deer. The Mriga. And it's called Kasturi. And at certain seasons or time of month, I don't know, but his navel, there's some gland there that secretes some fluid, and it gathers around his own navel. And he's like incense on his tail or something. And he's smelling it, and he's going crazy. It's called Mriga Mada. Mada means crazy. He becomes Mada. But Mriga means animal. In this case, it means this wild deer. The ox, what they call them? The musk ox, they call it. Musk ox, or this Kasturi. He's running, he becomes mad, he's running everywhere in the forest. He becomes intoxicated just by the fragrance. So this Madhavi Mandir, this Madhavi Lata, this whole Kunja temple, or the love temple, the love cottage, you could say the love cottage of Radha and Krishna, love cottage, is so intoxicating, just the fragrance. Have you ever gone to a temple in the summertime in Vrindavan, in May or June, and they've had a full bungalow? Or the bela, what we call bela flowers, which are actually jasmine or mogra, they call bela, they call jasmine. It's unbelievable. You get intoxicated. And even snakes somehow they can smell. If you have very fragrant flowers, snakes will come and, like they go around the sandalwood tree, they curl around the sandalwood tree to cool off, and also because of the fragrance. I got one when I was planting Ratki Rani in my garden, and then some people said, "This is not good." I said, "Why?" Because it will attract snakes. They'll come at night, because the flowers blossom at night, and snakes move in the nighttime to catch the rats running in the fields. You know, the daytime is too hot for them. They don't like the sunshine. So I said, well, that's a risk I have to take. Because right in front of my Thakurji's window, where he rests, I planted Ratki Rani, so at night the fragrance will come in to his bed where he's taking rest for his pleasure. My room is way in the back, but back there we have Malati latas. I mean, the Malati latas are going up the wall, the kuti, and they're also going up the wall in the front too. And at night, they blossom also at night. It's really intoxicating. And it's all there for Krishna's pleasure. When I sleep on the veranda in the summertime, and the Malati Lata and Madhavis are right there, and I'm actually feel like I'm intoxicated just by the fragrance of that prasadi ganda. I mean, it's offered already. Krishna already smelled it, so it's prasadi. But it's so snakes do come for the Ratki Rani, but they haven't bitten me. I'm right on the veranda. And I'm thinking sometimes, but I thought, well, it's for Krishna. So this is a nice point. Let's see one more translation and conclude the class around the time. This is 1664. Oh, that's very interesting. It's amazing. Same different translators and same Sanskrit. I mean, that's like they say Sanskrit has so many meanings, and according to the Bhav, This is I, Rasa Shastra, Vrndavana Mahimamrta. What is your realization of the Tattva Siddhanta? What is your bhav, if you're on the level of bhav, bhavuka? And what is your expertise of Sanskrit and rasa Sanskrit? You may know Sanskrit, but you know Sanskrit when it's combined into rasa Shastra. You may know Vyakaran, you may know Nyaya, so many things, and Kavi and Chandas and many things, but to bring out the actual meaning, of intended meaning, and then to be tanatmika with the author, with the bhava, tunga vidya, with the intention and mood of Prabhupada Saraswati. Just like in Vrindavana's Thakur, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur's Sranga Sartha Darshini, Tika and 10th canto, oftentimes Vishnu is saying, so in this verse Shukadeva Goswami is feeling like this, and is thinking like that. So that means that he, the author, Vishnu, he actually understands what Shukadeva is thinking or feeling. So he's certainly a qualified person to comment. So if someone is translating these verses, he must be like, have that finesse and that insight of Vishwanath to Maki, something. He must have the that intuition and that ability of spiritual power to actually translate. So in this verse, we're being told to increase your attachment for the enchanting sweet temple, Radhika's sweet temple. So this is Radhika's Kunja Mandir, that she is. Why is it Radhika? Because Radhika and her Sakhi Mandaris have built this Kunja Mandir to serve Krishna, for Vilas, Rati Vilas, intimate pastimes with Krishna. Radhika's sweet temple. So she has a beautiful temple. People want to build a temple, so go to the forest and build a Kunja Mandir. I'm going to build a temple. Oh really? Why don't you build one like Radhika's sweet temple, built with Madhavi flowers and creepers. Well, Madhavi is a creeper. Madhavi Lata. And what kind of temple is that? It's an ocean of transcendental mellows. It would be wonderful if we could enter a temple and experience an ocean of transcendental mellows. It is decorated with lotus flowers, surrounded by humming bees, and adored by Goddess Lakshmi. It's worshipped, honored by her. She's left Narayan Lok out of her attachment for this temple. So she has so much attachment. So now that's what it's saying, telling us we should increase our attachment. You know, Lakshmi, she's also attached, she's meditating, she's not there, she can't go there. She's in Lakshmivan, the Kunja Mandirs in Vrindavan. And now this author is saying, he's addressing Lakshmi. Hey, listen, Lakshmi Devi, so no, oh, Goddess Lakshmi, renounce your shining palace filled with the nectar of bliss and a host of blue lotuses and humming bees. It's like a totally different angle. He says, you should renounce your opulent palace there in Vaikuntha. It's filled with, even though, why should I renounce? She might say, why should I renounce a palace? If you have a palace which is filled with Anand Amrit, or whatever, the nectar of bliss, and a host of blue lotus flowers, and humming bees, and so give that up, and what should you do? You should, with great love, Lakshmi Devi, you should find happiness not there, but in Radhika's sweet Madhavi Lata palace, beautiful with the opulence of her love for Lord Madan Mohan. So Prabhupada Saraswati is taking the liberty to tell Lakshmi to become a renunciate. You're attached, Lakshmi Devi. You're attached to being the goddess of fortune and living. You think you have a beautiful place. And if someone said, can you imagine, would you want to renounce such a place? What do you have? You have a palace. What is it? It's filled with the nectar of bliss. Your palace, the palaces in Vaikuntha are full of bliss. It's bliss. You think the spiritual world, it's called, this is Vaikuntha, this is Premanand. They're experiencing the bliss of love. But they're not experiencing the bliss of Madan Mohan's love, or Radha Madan Mohan's love. That's the Sringa Rati, that inconceivable love that they have, the Parakya Bhav. So he's telling her, Renounce that. And what should you do? You want to find happiness? With great love you should find happiness in Radhika's Madhavilata Mandir. And what makes that beautiful? Maybe maybe there's no blue lotus flowers, and maybe there's no bees, but of course there are. What makes it beautiful? That's beautiful. What is that palace made beautiful with? The opulence of love for Lord Madan Mohan. What makes Radharani's Kunja Mandir beautiful is the supremacy of her love. Her love is so great for her Madan Mohan that you can't even understand. You can't understand how great it is. Radharani's love is so great for Madan Mohan that she can give up everything. You ran away from your husband and did austerities, but can you give up your Purusha Abhiman, your Mahishi Abhiman, Can you give up your Mahishi Abhiman? That mentality of being a queen or being born as a Brahmani, the wife of the ocean, born from the churning of the ocean, she's a Brahmani. Can you give up your name, your prestige, like Radharani? That's the opulence. You have the opulence of bliss. Your cottage, your mandir is full of bliss. Okay, everything in Vaikuntha is full of bliss. Your mandir is full of bliss, and your mandir is very beautiful. Lakshmi Mandir. You've heard of Lakshmi Narayan Mandirs. So your Lakshmi Narayan Mandir is full of blue lotus flowers, very attractive, very fragrant, and the humming of bees. It's a very nice place, but you can't compare with Radharani's Madhavilata. She has Madhavilata. And that Madhavilata, that's Radharani's name also, Madhavi. She's like a Madhavilata wrapped around the beautiful tumultree of Sham. But what is the opulence there? And Radharani's Kunja is the extent of her love, her great love for Krishna, Madan Mohan. And because her love is so great that she makes Madan, the bewilderer of Cupid, bewildered. Madan Mohan Mohini. So this is the conclusion of this verse, is that give up everything you have and worship Madan Mohan Mohini. Whatever you have that's great. You may have the nectar of bliss. You may be living in Vaikuntha. Forget it. It's nothing. So these are the verses which are establishing the supreme enchantment of Radha and Krishna. Lakshmi is completely enchanted, Narayan is completely enchanted, Prabodhananda Saraswati is completely enchanted, and he's trying to enchant all of us with his wonderful descriptions. Vrndavana Mahimamrta ki jai.
Did you mention